What's up, y'all? I'm back with another video, and today we're going to be doing a pretty simple haircut. It's going to be a number 1 to a 3 fade and tapers on the sides and back, and then we'll clean up the beard and line them up. We're actually leaving the top alone today. My client didn't want the top cut, so we're just taking care of the sides and the beard. So here I'm debulking with a number 3, clearing all the space. That shelf right there along his parietal ridge, that's perfect because now we know exactly where to, blend the top into the sides using clipper over comb later on. And I'm just moving down from the number 3 guard to the number 2 to the 1.5 right below that. And then the number 1 open and closed. So there's really not going to be any lines in this fade. There shouldn't be. You should be going straight from 3 directly below that number 2, and then so on and so forth. I don't really fade down that often, but if a client say wants like a number 1 or like a number 2 on the side or something that's gonna leave the sides dark, then most of the time I'll fade down instead of fading up. Now, if it's a skin fade, then I'll start, from the bottom, and I'll do a reverse. Now on the side, like the temple area, we're gonna be fading it down to a half. He's not getting a full skin taper. To be honest with you, I wish he would have let me just do a full skin taper, because I think fading it down to a half is kind of stupid, but whatever, that's cool. You got to give the client what they want. It's not really about what I think. I mean, it is, I am trying to give them the best look possible, but they're paying for the cut. So if the client wants a taper down to a half, then he'll get a taper down to a half. And right here, I just switched to some different guards, just trying to smooth out that number 1 fade before we move into the taper. Because I don't want to move on to another aspect of the haircut before this part is done. So here we're in the back in the nape area. Sorry for my shoulder being in the way. And we're just following our normal fade system. So it's gonna be the clipper close to create that bald line. Then the clipper open will create our first bar, and we'll blend that out from closed to open until it's, fully blended. And because the bottom of the fade on the sides was a number 1, I'm just making sure right here that we still have that solid number 1 to blend into, and then we'll mainly be using the half guard in order to bring the taper together in the back. And I'm just opening and closing it a little bit just to kind of, blend out dark spots that I see, anything that needs to, get touched up. I like to use that 0 guard for. I feel like it's the best guard when it comes to detailing. Now you see how now I'm almost working back up toward the ear for his taper, is because I don't want it to just end in a solid line. I wanted to also marry into the sides as well. So we're kind of lightening that up so that the taper looks like it flows with the rest of the haircut. And again, like I said, we're doing the tapers on the side are going to be down to a half. But what I did was, instead of keeping the half guard pretty low and then doing the taper, I basically gave him a high shadow taper. So if the clipper was closed, we would have been taking out the entire C cup. But instead, the clipper was open, but I still acted took that angle as if I was going to take the whole C cup off. If somebody's getting like a number 1 fade or a shadow fade down to like a half, you always want to make sure you get a nice spread on the blend. I mean, you want a good spread on your blend regardless, but especially if it's going to be some hair at the bottom, because you want to make sure that fade looks like it's spread out and not too compressed and like almost like dirty looking. You want it to be spread out, nice and clean. Like from the sides, you almost can't tell that that's a shadow taper. It almost looks like a bald taper. And right here, he said he wanted to keep, some of the darkness on the beard, but he did want to lighten it up some. So we went with a 1.5, or the 1 open really. And we cleared off all the hair on his beard. Make sure to go against the grain, because a lot of times people's beards grows in different directions, side to side. Sometimes you might have a swirl up and down, whatever. So you want to make sure you get all the different directions that the hair grows in. Thankfully for this client, his hair pretty much grows straight down, so it's not too crazy. But you want to make sure you go over the same spot more than once so you don't miss any hairs. And that would suck for him if he went home, got a fresh cut, but he's got one long hair in his beard because we weren't thorough as we cut it. Now right here, like I said, we did the 1 open on the beard. It's a half right there in his temple area. So we need to blend into that half. So what I did was I just closed up the number 1 and then took that guard off and then went with the blade open. The problem was, though, is because the hair on the beard is a little bit more coarse than the rest of the hair, a little darker as well, I actually had to go down a little bit shorter in that area. So it's really like the blade was like a quarter of the way open in order for me to blend it in and not look like there was like a dark spot on his beard. So that just goes to show you that even if somebody says they want a half, right, you may have to go a little shorter in some places or leave hair a little longer in other places in order to give the client the desired look that they want. You can't be so cookie cutter that, okay, I gave him the half, well, it doesn't look good with just that. You might have to go shorter. Yeah, but he said he wanted a half. So what? You need to give the client the best possible look. If you have to explain to them what you're gonna do before you do it, then that's fine. That's a great barber right there, and your clients will appreciate it. Say, hey, listen, I know you wanted a half, but I think it would look better if we, brought it down a little bit shorter. You'll still be able to see the line, but we need to bring it in a little closer so it blends together. And the client's gonna say, okay, because if you come at them professionally with expertise, like you know what the heck you're talking about, most of the time clients will listen to you and they will let you give them the best haircut that you possibly can. So right here, we prepped the lineup with some liquid razor. So that way, as we go through and line him up, it will be nice and smooth. I always like to prep the lineup. I hate going in just like with nothing on the hairline, you know what I mean? Some type of spritz or something to get the hair to lock in place. That way when you go through with your trimmers, you get that nice crunch and nice sharp line. Also take care of them ear hairs. I've said it before, you guys, you know, yes, the client is paying, say, $25 for a haircut or $35 for a haircut and beard, but you are responsible for everything above that neck strip. And with his cape on, you were responsible for everything above that neck strip. So what if you give your client a fantastic blurry fade haircut, beautiful styling on top, but then you left him with his eyebrows looking crazy or his ear hairs and nose hairs sticking out? I mean, what's the point of having a fresh cut if the rest of you looks rugged? You know, take care of your clients' ear hairs, take care of their nose hairs, take care of their eyebrows, and you don't need to charge them extra for it. You could just do it off the strength, and I promise you, you will keep clients. How about this? If you charge $25 for a haircut, and I charge $25 for a haircut, and we both give the same amazing blurry fade, but I take care of the client's nose hairs, ear hairs, and eyebrows for free, and you charge them for eyebrows and always give them, a problem when they ask for their ears, hairs, and nose hairs clean. Who is giving out the more valuable service? Of course, it's me, the one who is including these things, who's making sure that I take care of, like I said, from the neck strip up. And right here, you see we're cleaning up the beard underneath, knocking out all that excess hair in the back of the taper. Now, here's one thing I did mess up on with this haircut, you guys. You see how I got my client leaned back? I did not raise the headrest up. So he is like struggling right now to keep his head from falling off the back of the chair. So definitely, if you have to lean your client back, make sure you raise the headrest for them. I'm watching this video and I feel really bad right now. Or no, maybe I did raise the headrest up. Okay, yeah, there we go. I probably could have done a click higher though. He'd have been all right. But yeah, always do your best to make sure that your client is comfortable. You don't want to just, you don't want to just like have them lean their head back and their head's about to fall off. Also, if they're comfortable, that's going to allow you to work. Because if they're uncomfortable, they're going to be shifting around and moving, and you're going to see that, and it's going to be hard for you to get your work done. And here we go. Like I said, that kind of ridge right there along the parietal ridge that we had, we're blending that out with some clipper over comb and creating a nice square shape on the side of the client's head. He thought about cutting the top, but then by the time the haircut was over, he looked at it and was like, I don't really need the top cut, so he decided to let it go. So here we're using the shaver. Everything that basically doesn't have hair is going to get the shaver. So since we balded out that taper in the back, he's going to get the shaver there. He's not going to get it in the temple area because that's down to a shadow, but under the neck, above the beard, all of that, we want to make sure we're thorough in getting all of those, all of that hair, all of that stubble nice and smooth, because we want our client to walk away thinking that he got the best possible product that he could get. You always want to make sure you go in different directions when you're using the shaver, because a lot of times, like I was saying with the beard, the hair can grow in different directions, and if you're only shaving in one direction, then you won't get it. So you gotta make sure you're hitting everything. Make sure you're training your eye for detail. A lot of times, like I've seen, barbers will try to use the shaver underneath and they end up skipping a lot of hairs. and just kind of, you know, moving through it really quickly, as opposed to taking your time and getting all the excess stubble under there. Just try to rush through it. Also, some powder helps. Some talc powder. Anytime you're about to use a shaver on somebody, whether you're giving them a bald head, whether you're giving them, you know, a fade or anything like that, throw some talc powder on there before you use the shaver, and that ends up making the shave a lot smoother, a lot more comfortable for the client. Right here, we're just cleaning the line up with the razor, just trying to bring some sharpness to it. I always say the goal is to have your trimmer set to where you do not need a razor, but you want the razor to be that final kind of finishing touch on the haircut that really brings it together. So you see I'm checking here just to make sure everything's even. It obviously wasn't, so I go tap that side again, make sure everything's good. And then we'll tap this side again and also make sure everything's good. I like to hit the line with the razor at least like 2 or 3 times till we get that nice thin ash line, so I can see what I'm doing. Stretch the lip down, hit the mustache. And you see, look, even on his upper cheek area, right around his eyebrow, we're getting all that extra hair. Cleaning the ears. All of this goes into a haircut, man. You can have 2 people doing the exact same haircut, but that final, you know, 5 minutes of finishing touches means a lot. And you see, I just poked my client in the eye right there. I didn't mean to. I was trying to show him something and he turned. But hope you guys enjoyed the cut. If you did, please hit the like button, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.